Many people are asking me what is the best survival game to play right now, today. And I'm not telling you to play Rust. I'm not saying to play DayZ. I wouldn't say play Ark. I would say that you should play Once Human. Not because it's perfect, not because it's the hardest, but because right now it's probably one of the best packaged in genre overall. It's free to enter and play. It's on PC and on mobile, cross-platform. It has a huge social infrastructure, which is always nice because I know I like to be social inside of the games that I play. It's getting great reviews, so we already know that the game is gonna live long because people are enjoying it. The art style's cool. Actually, it's pretty awesome. I think it just looks great to play. And it's got PvE, PvP, and base building, so it's got a little bit of everything. And lastly, it's got some long-term progression that's going to keep players playing for a long time and not just playing it for a little and then putting it down. Once Human is the easiest survival game to recommend in 2026 because it combines survival depth and modern quality of life. The game lets you scavenge, craft, fight bosses, build and relocate an entire territory, capture weird deviations that help in combat and base management, and choose between PvE, PvP, permanent server, and increasingly customizable server paths. Important account level progress carries forward across scenarios. The onboarding was overhauled, and right now, the game is live on PC and mobile with cross-platform play and data sync. If you want one sentence for the entire video, it's this: Once Human is where survival stops being a chore and starts being a complete ecosystem. But let me explain to you guys that don't know what Once Human actually is. Once Human is a multiplayer open-world survival game set in a post-apocalyptic world infected by an extraterrestrial substance called stardust. But the key thing is its flavor. Officially, the game leans into a new, weird identity, and you can feel that everywhere. There's no generic zombie sludge. It's bio-horror, anomaly fiction, creepy object monsters, mutilated wildlife, floating nightmare bosses, and helper creatures that can be anything from a tiny dragon chief to a bizarre utility champion running your base. The weirdness gives the game a personality that most survival games never find. And on mobile, Apple literally highlighted it as a creepy post-apocalyptic MMO where base building meets bio-horror. The core loop is simple enough to understand and deep enough to stay interesting. You enter a scenario, explore the map, scavenge materials, craft gear and ammo, build or improve your territory, capture useful deviations, clear strongholds and bosses, unlock better blueprints and currencies, and then either keep pushing that scenario, move into a new one, or continue one permanent or non-shutdown server structures depending on the mode. That's the perfect middle lane between directionless sandbox chaos and over-scripted theme park busywork. Steam's own page highlights polluted food and water, sanity management, territory building, boss fights, and large weapon blueprint system, while official dev blogs explain that scenarios are supposed to give you different gameplay themes and let important rewards carry forward. The design is why the loop works. The game keeps giving you reasons to care about both the world and your long-term account. All right, so now this is the part where usually people ask, does the game actually feel good to play? Because in reality, that's really what matters the most. And the answer is yes, with nuance. The combat is not the sharpest pure shooter combat in the genre, and several reviewers said ordinary PvE can feel a little easy, but the total package is awesome because combat plugs into better systems, deeper crafting than expected, strong base utility, weird monster design, scenario gimmicks, and bosses that feel like actual payoff moment. Building is especially important here. Once Human doesn't treat your base like a boring storage shed. It treats it like the center of your survival identity. Your territory is practical, expressive, and mobile. You can move it when you want, lay it out for efficiency, or build something ridiculous just because you can. The single choice makes the game feel less punishing and more creative than a lot of other survival rivals. Now, this is another reason that the game is pretty freaking awesome. Once Human is more accessible than the genre reputation suggests. The developers launched a revamped new player experience specifically to make the game clearer and more representative of what makes it special. Reviews point out that territory relocation is free, Early mobility ramps fast, gathering is straightforward, and the game strips away some of the pointless friction that survival games often mistake for depth. Even the newer raid mode PvP structure now has 3 modes, including a casual option that's built for lower pressure survival. That means you can credibly recommend this game to people who bounce off Rust because it's too cruel, or bounce off DayZ because it's too punishing or slow. Now, if you only watch the trailers, Once Human probably looks like a game with style. But the more important point is that the style survives contact with the actual system. The new weird vibe is not just a trailer skin. It changes the enemies, the helper creatures, the atmosphere, the world objects, and even the emotional rhythm of the game. Reviews describe the world as rich, colorful, atmospheric, and visually impressive. And one review specifically calls out clean audio, a fantastic soundtrack, and radio stations packed with good music. So even if you would not call the voice acting the headline reason to play, the audio-visual package absolutely clears the bar that you need for long-term survival game. Honestly, it feels like a world that you want to spend time in. Now, being someone that loves mobile games myself, this is a reason that Once Human really stands out for me. And honestly, it's one of the biggest reasons to play Once Human now instead of just keeping it on your wish list. The game's already live on PC and mobile, and the official messaging is very clear. PC and mobile have data sync, and cross-platform play is supported on the game's servers. That is a massive value proposition for a survival game, because it means your social group doesn't have to live on one device type. The caution is performance. On PC, decent machines seem to handle the game well overall, even if in some big fights you may need to lower your settings. On mobile, content parity looks strong, but performance still depends heavily on your device, and official mobile documentation itself warned about crashes, overheating, and frame rate issues during testing phases. But let's be honest, that's with any mobile game. There's such a wide variety of different types of mobile devices, some that suck and some that are amazing. It's really going to heavily depend on the device that you have. So if you want the simplest recommendation, PC is still the best place to play, but mobile is good enough to make the ecosystem much bigger and much more convenient. Now, I know monetization is what you want to know about. Is it a pay-to-win game? So let's dive into the monetization question, because this is where a lot of free-to-play survival games lose the room. The fairest way to say this is, Once Human looks much more cosmetic and FOMO heavy than outright pay to win heavy. The official monetization intent was explicitly anti-pay to win and cosmetic focused. Current store pages and even the official loot crate probability posts support that general direction. The game discloses chance-based purchases, publishes the odds, uses pity style guarantees, and repeatedly describes light forged crates as a cosmetic. But let's not sugarcoat it. The game absolutely has event layering, multiple currencies, battle passes, and random item cosmetics. Some reviews think the shop is visible and more complicated than it should be. So the honest verdict is, I don't see strong evidence that the game is selling raw combat dominance, but I do see clear evidence of cosmetics, FOMO pressure, and chance-based monetization. That's tolerable for a lot of people, and for some people, it's a deal breaker. But looking at the current climate of many mobile games, I think the monetization here is quite fair. Now, as you're sitting here trying to determine what is going to be your next survival game, and obviously Once Human is the one that you're thinking about the team. Are they actually here supporting the game long term? Because if you're putting your time and energy into playing something, you want a team that's going to be supporting that game for an extensive amount of time. So on that front, Once Human looks strong. The official Discord is enormous, the Reddit community is active, the mobile store listings push players into official social channels, and the developers regularly publish fair play announcements, bug fix posts, update notes, support guides, and feedback prompts. They're also still asking for hands-on feedback on new systems like first-person mode. But that doesn't mean that the community is perfect or that the game is drama-free. No survival game is. But it does mean that the game has scale, active moderation, and visible developer contact points. In a genre where abandoned services and low population servers kill momentum fast, this is something that matters a lot. So why do I rank Once Human as one of the best survival games to play right now? Because Rust is still more brutal than fun for a lot of people. DayZ is still more authentic than convenient. Ark is still more sprawling than approachable. And Last Day on Earth is still more mobile grindy and less socially rich than Once Human is offering. Once Human sits in the sweet part. Free to start, It has better onboarding. It has PvE and PvP without forcing some social nightmare on everyone. It has giant social channels. It has current live content, cross-platform play, and it has a visual identity that people actually remember. The reason to make it your #1 survival game is not that it completely replaces every other survival experience. It's that it gives the highest percentage of players the highest chance of actually sticking around and enjoying themselves. If you want the harshest survival punishment possible, you may still like Rust or DayZ more. If you hate seasonal structures on principle, Once Human may irritate you even with the persistent system. If you're extremely monetization sensitive, the chance-based cosmetics side may turn you off. And if you're playing on an older, weaker mobile device, optimization can be your biggest obstacle. But those are caveats, they're not deal breakers for an average player. So, should you play Once Human as your #1 survival game? Yes, for most players, absolutely yes. It has enough survival depth to satisfy genre fans, enough structure to help new players, enough weirdness to stand out, enough social scaffolding to keep groups together, and enough developer activity to make it feel alive right now, instead of merely promising a future. If you've been waiting for a survival game that gives you a scale of an MMO, the creativity of a builder, the satisfaction of a looter shooter, and the convenience of cross-platform play, without buying anything up front, Once Human is the one that I would tell you to install first. Let me know if you'll be downloading the game or if you already have, and remember to subscribe to the channel to stay up on everything in the gaming industry.